Ever since we started talking, people began to ask, what do you want to be in the future? This question is an inevitable question that we get through every day of our lives. Even in some culture, people put babies amongst all these toys, and when that baby chooses one toy, a soccer ball let's say, it is believed that they will grow up becoming a soccer player. The point is, we are in a constant rush where we need to know what we want to do as soon as possible. And now, people are in a dilemma whether they should take the old-fashioned formal education or if they should go in a creative path. In the government team, they talked about a world where kids are free to do what they like to do. But here, we are talking about the reality that we're facing. Here, we do not see formal education as an old-fashioned thing to do, but rather would give much more benefits than harm. On the opposition side, we do not support our children's choice to deprioritize formal education because first, formal education would provide stability and security. Second, you still need a form of formal education because passion doesn't necessarily mean you're good at it. Third, making money out of your passion is not necessarily good. Fourth, formal education is not a restriction, and we would like to put you in that new light. And because of that, we were proud to oppose. Before I start with my speech, I would like to have some points of rebuttal. To start, I would love to talk about security. They stated that in both sides of the world, there are no saying which path will be more successful, or we can also say that we don't know the outcome of each road. But let me ask you this. Which one would give more stability? When you're out there in the creative industry, let's say TikTok, I can openly say that to be successful in that app, it's a gamble. Your videos can either went to people's For You page and went viral, or it can flop. There are no telling how the algorithm works. But if you are out there pursuing formal education, getting a great GPA, I know that you're not guaranteed you would be a billionaire, but with those educational background, it can at least give you a job that doesn't make you starve. Second, they say that we are in an era where creative industries are on top of the town. But even if you want to be in the creative industry, let's say you want to be a digital illustrator, you still need some form of formal education. Some companies still requires a degree that can support you in that area. To add, when you are passionate about something, let's say you like designing, you don't necessarily mean that you're good at it. You still need to study. You still need to learn on how to operate the software and etc. Third, about education itself. I'm going to be open here because honestly speaking, some people don't self-study well. You might think that as a parents, we're restricting them or we're not giving a chance for them to explore, but by letting them do what they want to do without our supervisions, some kids might take that as a chance and act as they wish. Fourth, the definition of success itself. Yes, people do have their own definition of success, but for a kid growing up in the middle class, they still have the obligation to at least make ends meet, because their parents can always support them all the time. The government team stated that for a writer, even an increase in vocabulary is success. But would you call it a success when one day you can't even provide food for yourself? Or say a YouTuber, it is fun to make videos, but you're not just doing it for fun, right? You also want to live off of it. You still want to make money out of it, and you still need those acknowledgement and money. And that last argument concludes all of my rebuttal. Moving on to my speech, I would like to further discuss about stability. As a middle class, it is important to maintain that social level. But by focusing more on the creative industry, you are sending your child to a more risky and unstable path. You might be very talented, but what is all that talent if no one sees your talent? What is all that if no one appreciates it, no one acknowledges it? Even if you made top content with the best graphic possible, there is no saying that you will succeed. Contrary to that, when you pursue formal education, how much you work usually is connected on the outcome itself. And with those educational background, you can use it to apply for stable jobs, and you can at least make sure that you're not stressed about the bills. To add, think of it this way. Imagine you're pursuing YouTube, for instance. Your videos might went viral once, But that doesn't guarantee that in the next 5 or 10 years, your videos will still be able to provide for you. It is not uncommon for us to see YouTubers who used to be very successful and then suddenly become a flop. Let's say Ryan Higo or the Wasabi production. People used to love their contents, but now we barely even talked about them anymore. Second, formal education doesn't have to be something that restricts you from doing what you like. Since the creative industry is more flexible, you can simply make those YouTube or TikTok videos in your free or leisure time. You do not have to make it a full-time job, and you can use it to gain extra cash instead. Therefore, you can both get formal education and still do what you like. Moving on to my next argument, we'll talk about passion. My question is, how are you sure that those passions will burn the same? It is normal for a person's passion to change, and even when we grow up, we are used to changing things that we like. And why are you so sure that it wouldn't happen again? Would you rather choose that so-called passion that wouldn't even last long for something that you don't really enjoy but gives more stability? Imagine this. Imagine that you like making videos, but at some point you grow out of it. It bores you. Then you'll be just doing some things that you don't really like, and for what? Not only that, you might start off hating on a job or not enjoying what you learn. But who are you to say? Maybe in the next 10 or 15 years, you'll end up loving what you do. To add, when you are pursuing something that you're passionate about, when you turn it into a job, even if those jobs makes you happy, it will become a burden someday. And at the end of the day, there will be pressure too. Let's say that you're an artist and drawing is a way of your escape. Back when you're doing it just for fun, let's say in high school, you can draw all that you want, but now that you turn it into a full-time job, your creativity are limited to the ones your client wants. You no longer have those escapes. And then what are you going to do then? What are your escapes now? Last, I want to talk about education itself. Even if you do not like the things that you are currently learning, but knowledge is still knowledge after all. And even if you do not ended up pursuing what you like, you can still use it for the better. For instance, you learn about biology and then you decided at some point you still want to be a YouTuber. Then you can take those things that you learn and turn it into a video or a content. In conclusions, we do not agree that formal school is a way of restricting children because even with formal education, they can still pursue the things that they like. Not only that, formal school would give the stability that they need. With all of my arguments taken into account, I can proudly say that I oppose. Thank you.